Well, hey, everybody.
Hello!
Do you know this woman? Has anybody met this woman? If you haven't, you're missing out. This is Miss Glenyce Hughes. I am Christel. Welcome to the Christel Crawford Show. This edition, I would tell you the date, except I have no idea what date it is. Somewhere in October 2020. And we are live from Grand Bend, Ontario, in a gorgeous Airbnb. I would show you the view, except we have a reflection that we're protecting you from. I can't even explain that.
But the view.
The view, though.
Oh
if
my
you
gosh.
could only see it, but you can't.
No.
Anyway.
Sucks for you.
Yeah. So I called today's episode Having More Without Working That Hard. And Glenyce and I are in the middle of facilitating a set of classes called Universe. I'll have that on business and money. And so we've been steeping ourselves in these energies and the questions that are coming up. And so when we were looking at doing today's show, I didn't pre-title it. We stopped at lunchtime from facilitating this morning, and I looked at her and I was like, so we have a show. What is it? And this title just popped to my head. And so I thought I would sort of, where this title came from and the energy I was looking at actually was a conversation that you initiated in the business class this morning about communion with your business. And so what I was looking at with this conversation is that, in business and money, as it's done in this reality, is done with a lot of work, a lot of effort, period.
Period. Nothing more to say.
No, that's it. Blood, sweat, and tears. That's this reality with business and money. And what we've been exploring and what I watched you choose and I'm choosing is the space, the energy and the space and the consciousness we can be and the choices we can make from and as that actually create so much more. And I see you guys joining live. I'm so glad you're here. So if you guys have a question about this having more without working that hard, put it in the comments. If I am fast enough and can read it, we will talk about it. And, but so that's actually where I wanted to start today is when you talk today about communing with your business and energetically really tapping in and communicating with and receiving from. And I wondered if you could, this having more without working that hard is really that was that energy. I'm like, oh, that's you can get all this information without having to do it all. So can you talk a little bit about how that works for you? What that is, that process, wherever else that goes?
Absolutely. I can talk about anything. So let's talk about communing with your business.
You guys are going to love this. Okay. And go.
And go. So, once upon a time.
Here we were.
So communing is all about gifting and receiving with the thing. And so we call everything an entity. This ring light is an entity and our bodies are entities, and so is our business. So is our bank account. So is the money. Everything is a separate entity of its own. And once I realized that I didn't have to do business, the struggle, the push, the force, all the ways I had been doing it for years, what became available was communing with my business, which meant I could ask it for what was related to it. So I could ask it when it would like to have a bars class. I could ask it where it would like a foundation class. I could ask it if I was creating a class that I would set the price on. I could ask it what price it desired. I didn't have to make those decisions for the business anymore. I actually got to co-create, which then became way less work, as Christel mentioned.
Yeah.
Way less work.
Yeah, because I don't know about you guys, but a lot of the conversations I have with other business creators and that I've had with myself is you have this great idea and you want to put it in the world, and then you go into all this head tripping about, oh God, I don't know what to charge for it. Well, if I charge that, is that going to be too much? Or will the market sustain this price? Or is anybody else charging this much? And just, mental masturbation, but also it feels real. It feels like something you have to put yourself through. And when I discovered this thing of asking and just getting the information, it blew my world apart. And then so I sort of used it and sort of didn't in the beginning, but yeah, so it's so much easier.
So much easier. And I was sharing this morning how when I was kind of playing around with it, my business asked me, as I was asking it, when a class and what day and all of that, it asked to be on, a bars class asked to be on a Saturday in July. Now, if you don't live in Canada or aren't familiar with Canada, FYI, you don't have a class on a Saturday in July.
Mm-mm.
That's for the lake. That's for outside, for the, what did you say, 8
We
warm
have 8
days?
warm days in the whole year, and that's one of them, and you do not have a class on a Saturday in July.
So it was July of 2012, and the business was asking for it, and I was like, okay, the business is willing to be more aware than I am. So I'm going to clear my points of views, and I'm going to just continue to follow what the business was asking for. Mm-hmm. And to date, it is still the largest bars class I've ever had. There's 36 people in it. It was amazing. How does it get any better? And I did have to clear my points of views, because I would have created it to be a fail. I would have created it to be everybody's at the lake. But I cleared my points of views because the business was asking. The business doesn't have the points of view as I do. The business is willing to be infinitely aware. So when she said that Saturday in July, okay, cleared my points of views, just using the tools from Access, and then followed the likeness with the space that we rented, all the pieces, and really showed me that there's so much beyond my points of views, and what this reality would say is right, because this reality would say you don't have a bars class on a Saturday in July.
It's not logical, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that, when you say you cleared your points of views, I mean, it's crazy, like, once you get these tools in your system, how natural this all becomes, right? And we talk about it as if it's like the thing you do, which it is. It becomes the thing you do. But when you talked about it like that, I got that, wow, that's a whole different level of commitment to what's going to create more, and recognizing that what's coming up for you, or what you could use to stop yourself, is the thing to deal with, instead of the not doing the thing based on your points of view. So that to me is another trick for having more without working that hard, because clearing your points, recognizing you have a point of view and clearing them, is different than going, oh God, this is never going to work, and then going into that and then trying to fix that and then having a problem with it, and like, that's working really fucking hard.
That is working really fucking hard. That's really hard.
You do this in a way that I think is really interesting, and you make a list.
Yeah. So with something like that, because I knew there was a lot of points of views mixed in with what I'd read in business books and what I'd been told and all the things, I started at the top of a piece of paper and I put, I can't have a bars class on a Saturday in July because, and then I still use this tool to this day. I listed 10 things, and I always suggest to people, make sure you get to 10, because the first few will be things that are already there. What you're interested in is kind of after number 4 or 5. That's where the real meat is, that you're not even aware is there. Because, I mean, the logic was, well, you can't because it's a Saturday, July, everybody's at the lake, everybody's whatever. And I don't actually, at this point, this many years later, remember what all my becauses were. But then the becauses aren't relevant. You just need to clear them. So I didn't need to make a story. I didn't need to write a book about each one. I just went, oh, that's fucking nuts. All right. Right, wrong, good, bad, all 9 pod, poc, shorts, boys, and beyonds, which is the Access Consciousness Clearing Statement. Or you can use the tool of interesting point of view. I have that point of view over and over. Then I put the list away for a day. I brought it back out. Any of them I didn't laugh at, I cleared again. Because if they're not funny, you still have a point of view.
If you're not laughing at yourself, you're taking it way too serious. You have a point of view.
Too serious.
Way too serious. Yeah. You're funny.
Your points of views are hilarious. At least mine are.
So amazing. So, okay, so the next thing I want to tell you guys is that we actually have an offer for you that we haven't put together yet, that we are going to put together. And so there will be a link with this. We've already created it. We haven't put the link together yet. But what we recognized out of this series of classes was that there are energetic exercises that you can actually do to strengthen this energetic capacity. Because that's actually what we're talking about here. Even in the quickness with which you talk about communing with your business and receiving information, there is so much skill that you've developed there in listening and trusting yourself.
Yes.
And that's a thing I think we make ourselves wrong for. I did. I made myself really wrong in the beginning of like, oh, I can't hear a fucking thing. You know, like, and I just had never had the conversation or strengthened those energetic capacities in a way that would empower me to perceive and be able to have that conversation. So we created a couple of exercises separately. We didn't even let ourselves listen to each other, so they're not influenced, to really give you guys kind of the meat and potatoes of the classes without needing to be there. Because I was like, what's the gist of this? And it's this energetic communion with, you know, what you're creating. So I'm excited about that. So watch for that link. That's coming.
It's coming.
I think that is my third question if I had three, which I don't. 82. But do you, so this thing of actually trusting yourself and listening to yourself, I don't even know what my question about that is, but right as of now and for a long time, it seems really natural. Was it always?
No, definitely not. No, there was a lot of energy put out in what's the right way and what's the wrong way, and to make sure to do it the right way. And so it wasn't about trusting me, it was about gathering a bunch of information and then making the right choice or the right action. But and what it took was continuous choices of not trusting me.
Yes.
To go, shit, I knew that. I knew not to do that, or I knew to do that.
Mm.
And then situations like with the bars class and asking the business and just going, okay, well, let's see what happens. I mean, because putting on a bars class and not having anybody show up isn't the end of the world. So
True.
Let's just see what happens, right?
Yeah.
And then having it, you know, be such a success compared to what my points of views would have created, that really made me go, oh, okay. So I can start to trust me. I can start to trust the business. And then I was willing to ask more questions. I was willing to pay more attention in that sense of what the thing was asking for. Because the experience of the trusting and having it create more in that moment. And then even the times when I didn't trust and it didn't create more.
Those are so helpful. Because I can pinpoint, when I've been able to pinpoint, when did I actually start ignoring myself? Pinpointing that was like so essential in like the next time when I started to ignore myself and going, wait a minute, I've done this before 82 times. What if I actually trusted myself? What would that create? And yeah, that's cool that you mentioned that, because that's how it's worked for me too. It's the combination of the things.
Yeah, and it is. I mean, Gary says right in the old bars video, not in the new one, but he always says it, is, you know, choice creates awareness.
Yeah.
So choose not to trust you and choose to trust you and get a sense of it. And it'll get the awareness of what it is for you and what that looks like for you. And just to clarify for anybody, like, when I talk about communing and asking the business, I mean, I don't mean I sit back and this big booming voice from above says, Glenyce, have a bars
class on. You're like, okay, I'll do it. That's not how that works.
I mean, what would it take? I mean, as long as it wasn't the middle of the night, I think that'd be really fun. However, I use my awareness to receive the information. So it's really a light and a heavy. So when I'm booking classes, I open up a calendar. I look at the calendar and I'm like, okay, so Truth Foundation this month business. Yes. Okay, cool. So here's the dates. Which one? Truth this date? No. This date? No. This date? Oh, yeah. Okay. Done. Put it on the schedule.
And listen, guys, that is literally how much thinking goes into it. No thinking.
No thinking.
There's no thinking.
If you're thinking, you're stinking.
Yeah, like, and I had so many people say to me, wait, it's that easy? And I'm like, yes. And that right there is a yes-no reality. That's like, yes or no, yes, okay, yes, and what time? This time, no, this time, yeah, okay, this time to this time. And that's having more without working that.
That's all. And then you get the awareness too. Yeah. You know, I had a foundation in, I think August it was, and we did it over a longer period of days and shorter hours, and started, I think, if I remember correctly, 7 a.m. my time. And that was very light to choose that. And then afterwards I was like, okay, so choice creates awareness, and that's a little early for me. I mean, I get up really early, but I like a lot of time in the morning. So the next one is like, no, 9 a.m. my time. So, I mean, I'm still grateful I chose it, but that gifted me some more awareness. And I wouldn't be opposed to doing it at 7 a.m. again. It's just it gave me the awareness of different information for the next time. And so, yeah, there's just so good.
Well, the other thing that makes that an available conversation with yourself is that you include you. It's like, what, and I don't know where I'm going with this comment, but I'm like, that's again another one of these things that you sort of do very naturally now, that in the beginning when I didn't naturally include myself, you know, so I was trying to figure out what's going to work for the most people and how can I make my hours in the way that's going to work for them, instead of including me and going, okay, what's going to actually make this easy for me? Because that actually created a different space for me to create from, which created a totally different result in the world. And so that is another thing you sort of naturally do now.
Yeah.
But that's a paying attention thing too. That's like, I don't know where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
I just was like, that's another huge piece.
Yes. And it's, I'm glad that you put that way.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, there's so much that's just so natural now for probably both of us that we don't really look at. But you know, that's a thing in us co-creating what we've created these past couple of days. You know, Christel was brilliant at any time there was another choice to make or something, and she'd be like, well, what's the most ease?
Yeah, Glenyce would pop in, or one of us would pop in and go, okay, well, what's this, like, what do we choose here? And I was like, well, what's going to create ease? You know, like we both have teams, we both have people we can contribute, like, I don't know, who's going to create the most ease here? And somebody or a name, or, you know, it would be obvious once you asked that question, what was going to create the most ease. So it's also, I guess that's another thing is like, what question are you, it's like, yeah, I don't know if this is, what question are you not being that's creating the dis-ease? And what question could you be that could invite ease? And is ease something you're interested in? I guess that's a whole other video.
I mean, that's a whole other video. Yeah.
I mean, we're coming at this from the point of view that you want ease. So
yeah,
that might not be true.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, if, like, I've been in business now 18 years, so if this conversation, if I'd heard this conversation 17 years ago, I would have turned it off, because ease was not even in my reality to choose.
I could not even fathom it. I remember, and I can't remember how this all played out, but it was such a non-reality for me that I didn't even really hear it.
Yeah.
And I don't know when I started to hear it, but it started to occur to me that it was something I was definitely not choosing. I was not choosing ease. And it culminated in I've told this story so many times, but it was such a poignant moment. It culminated in this series of things. I'd actually traveled a long distance to facilitate a 2-person foundation class. My sweet friend was caring for me, but I was sleeping in her basement and it was dark and there wasn't a lot of room and there'd been construction, so there was a lot of chemical fumes it was just a whole series of things where I was just having a really personal, like, hard time. And then it was 10:30 at night on day 3 of a very intense foundation class, and my mother called. And not only that, I answered.
No.
Yeah, it was the worst. And she ended up being herself, which was like, at the time I was doing a lot of hanging up on her because she was just being abusive as fuck. And I hung up on her, and I remember sitting straight up in bed, and I'm like, I will have ease or I will have death. Like, that's it. I am done struggling. I am done with this, like, being okay with me. Because it had just been okay with me to just choose based on, I don't even know what.
Yeah.
And so that right there was really the pivotal moment where if it wasn't ease, then I just didn't choose it. And so out of that, I think, came a lot of the things we're talking about sort of naturally. But somebody was asking, is there an exercise to commune with their business?
There's so many. Basically, just get the energy of your business. Ask your business energetically to be really loud, and then ask it questions. There's lots of them, and I mean, I have many products about communing with your business. I'm not sure.
I don't.
Christel doesn't.
But I might now.
Yeah, Christel might now. But yeah, you can personal message me. I did one this summer called the master class, communing with your business.
Guys, this woman, get on her shit. So good.
But that's kind of step number one, is ask it to be really loud, because a lot of people don't even recognize that there's an energy
That's brilliant.
to the business. So ask it to be loud, and then from there it'll be much more natural. And then the other thing I talk about is like, have a 10-minute coffee, 5-minute coffee, tea, whiskey, whatever with your business every day.
In the morning.
In the morning. Hey, whatever works, man. Whiskey in the coffee, whatever you need. And just start asking the things that you are choosing for it. Start asking it. And one of the things that I did and it was actually not my business, it was my body years and years ago. We talk about communing with our bodies in Access and Foundation, and I would do everything with regards to communing with my body, but I would not ask it what it wanted to eat. Because I had been on diet since I was 9 years old, and I knew that if I asked it, she would only want carrot sticks and celery.
God damn that body.
Because that's a thing.
A bitch.
Yeah. So I wouldn't ask it. And then I heard a facilitator talk about it, and what he said was, just tell it that you are going to ask it, but you won't listen to it. So it's like treating it like a best friend. Be like, hey, I'm going to ask you, but I'm not going to listen, but please can we start this conversation? It was a baby step.
That's so brilliant.
Isn't it so brilliant?
I love that.
So same with your business. If you feel like, oh, I can't ask because it'll want me to have a bars class on a Saturday or something, let your business know, I'm taking some baby steps here. I'm going to ask you these, but please know I won't listen.
I'm going to say that to Andres sometime.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to ask you some things, but just know I'm not going to actually listen.
Yeah, you can tell me what to do, but I will not listen.
That's so good.
I think that's just known in my marriage.
Yeah,
Rodney just
it's
knows.
understood.
Yeah. So, anyway, and what I found with doing that with my body all those years ago was that 90% of the time, what she was asking for is what I was going for anyway. Yeah, she doesn't like just carrot sticks and celery. She likes carrot sticks. She likes celery, sometimes together, sometimes not, but not for every meal, every time. Shocking, but it was to me.
So you are and were more aware than you even knew.
I know.
You weren't as fucked up as you thought you were.
I was not as fucked up as I thought I was.
And is that possible for you?
No, not for them.
No, just you.
No, just
and not me. No. But that's, I think that's what I discovered when you started the class of that, communing with your business, and I was listening. I think it's so great what you're doing. And then I looked at that. You said, well, what is that for you? And I was like, well, I don't call it, I didn't have a name for it, but I do it. I am it, Not all the time, not 100%, but I had to look at that and I went, do I do this more than I've ever talked about? Yeah. And that's the thing about most of us, is we all have these just natural abilities with energy that we don't recognize because we're being ourselves, and you can't feel what you be. You're just being you, right? Or not. But when you're being you, that's when everything naturally gets created with ease. That's when more with ease actually occurs, is when you're being you. And you can't feel that. It's not notable. It's not significant. It's not heavy. It's actually space. So, yeah. So that, my question for you guys is, in addition to adding this practice to your life, like, do you also already have, Mara's excited. I adore you. Do you already have a natural ability with this that you haven't acknowledged? That's a lot of energy. So everything that brings up and everything that doesn't allow you to acknowledge it, would you just try and create it all?
Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, podpoc, shorts, boys, and beyonds.
And if you're brand new to that crazy, amazing tool, go to theclearingstatement.com, because it's going to educate you in a way that will change your life forever. I am going to see if I can read these. Everybody, I adore you. Hugs from Holland. God, you are so amazing. What would it take for you both to be in Portugal next year? Woo! What would it take? And a bunch of other amazing things. Yeah, cool. So, what else is possible?
What else is possible that we have never even considered?
What else is possible that you don't think is possible, that if you would allow the possibilities, would actualize a totally different reality with business and with your life and with living? And so we want to invite you to the product we don't have a link for yet. Yep. It will be there.
And even the classes we're doing now, we have links somewhere. We'll put them.
You're welcome. If you are listening to this, what we just did was interpretive dance.
And message us.
Yeah. The classes have been amazing, and also really revealing for just revealing. You're welcome. Naked. That's all I got.
We weren't, though, interpretive dancing naked. Just want to
I
clear
am
that.
not confirming that. I am not saying that didn't happen.
Ooh.
It could have happened.
I know some things we talked about that won't be talked about on a Facebook Live.
But if you guys are listening and you've never met Glenyce Hughes, can they find you places?
Oh, gosh.
Oh my God,
Find
she's
me
everywhere.
And I've got the most unique name in the world, so, you know, find me. GlenyceHughes.com, and then, of course, Facebook and Instagram and, I mean...
TikTok.
TikTok, yeah.
She's basically everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, cool. And for those of you guys watching live, thank you so much. If this contributed and you would share it, I would be so grateful.
Me too.
Thank you. And if you're listening, thank you. How does it get better than this, and what else is possible? And we'll see you guys next week on the Christel Crawford Show.
Woohoo!
Yay!